Let's go ahead.
This is a decade of growth and harvest.
For Wang Longqiang of the Qiang ethnic group, herding goats in his hometown, Qige village, has been all too familiar, especially since he's lived here for so many decades. After the Wenchuan earthquake, the village was relocated to Chonglai City, which is 300 kilometers away. So now, living in a new home, Wang is still very much used to life back in his hometown.
We're expecting some guests today, so I'm getting ready.
Today, with guests expected to come soon, Yang Chuyun, Wang's wife, starts preparing dinner earlier than usual. Electricity isn't accessible up there. Transportation is no good either. Actually, moving down to Nanbaoshan is a good option.
But there's no wood fire or anything like that. Huh?
But
It's not warm
There's
enough.
natural gas.
I'm telling you, it's not warm enough.
What matters is that she's in her late 70s. Indeed, Nanbaoshan offers better conditions. Electricity, water supply, and stuff. Better conditions for everything. The government gets everything in place. Despite the generosity of the government, with her age and education, she can't get it. Everything is electrified. She can't even tell how to switch them on.
Come on, be realistic. Dying here isn't the answer.
I'd rather die here.
The visitor speaking is Wang Shengping. He is the village director. In fact, he doesn't really count as a guest. In fact, he's Wang's brother-in-law who came here in order to persuade their father and mother-in-law to leave the old village and move to the new one. Last year, our father fell down the hill when collecting wood. That night, we rushed up here and sent 2 or 3 cars in order to take him to Chonglai's People's Hospital. But you know him, he came back here after the narrow escape from death. Their mother-in-law, Wang Shengfeng, is 75 years old. After moving to Chonglai with her husband, Yang Shaisheng, and other villagers, she found it difficult to adapt to the environment, so the couple secretly moved back to the abandoned house. In despair, Yang and Wang, their second daughter and son-in-law, decided to move back here as well in order for them to take care of their elderly needs. Like I've been telling you, more than 200 people, old and young, could adapt to Nanbaoshan. It's not that I'm forcing you or anything. I'm just asking, why can't you try?
Since ancient times, since I could remember things, the Qiang people have been keeping themselves warm by the open fire. How could we do that in the new house? Where can we collect the
Hey,
wood?
listen, open fire certainly is not an option for us. You can use natural gas. That's a fact. It's that simple. But your kids are all there. If you ever feel cold, tell them to turn on the gas in order for you to keep warm. That's it.
It's not like we can't afford it. The party has put in place what we need. Money and all that, we got everything.
My coming here this time is to convince the both of you of moving to the new house. And that's it. That's all there is.
I'm not going. I'm gonna
Still
stay
that
here
old
for
line.
another 5 years.
No, that's not an option. This doesn't only concern you two. There's also the public influence here. I'm not making this stuff up. If you don't have food, if you don't have clothes, if you don't know how to use the electricity, gas, or flush the toilet, that's not a real problem. With us around, we can teach you. We're at your service. It's just not possible, especially with your age. I'm sorry for being forceful, but you gotta move to the new house. It's not right to leave you behind like this. I'm sorry, it just isn't. You gotta move by the end of this year, I'm telling you. Wang Shengping doesn't know how to deal with the insistence of the two elderly. As the village director and the son-in-law, he just cannot find it in his heart to allow his father and mother-in-law to continue living in this abandoned village for any longer. The Wenchuan earthquake of 10 years ago shattered the ancient Qiang village into ruins. Restoration was too big a challenge. So in May of the second year, the whole village of 249 people left where they once lived for thousands of years and relocated to Chonglai City, west of the Chengdu Plain. Their new village was renamed Muti Qiang Village. So the Chinese New Year is drawing near. The kids are about to have their winter vacation. The migrant workers are coming back. And besides, we're not at all like the Han people. As a matter of fact, the life here is indeed different from the life that we previously had.
Not every household here runs agritainment program, which can provide for us with a stable income. Very small income gap. In 2018, I thought we should continue developing our tourism industry. After all, people have invested so much money.
We noticed something just about a year ago, and that was the internal price competition. It was obvious. After tourists come, to attract more business, some people would just offer special prices. There's no doubt that this will result in a huge loss for all of us. And besides, this doesn't serve our goal of enlarging our reception capacity, and not to mention the tourism development being affected by the internal price cuts here. I'm just saying, there's no way it's gonna work out for us.
Why can't we keep our culture alive? What went wrong? We discussed this just now. This is important. We have the shaman, but no stage. We don't have the audience or apprentice to make it possible. As Qiang people, we should pass on our own culture, say give full play to our cultural elements, like the temples and others. That way we can attract tourists. Let them know in Nanbaoshan, Qianglai city of Chengdu, there is this unique Qiang ethnic settlement that they can experience. This can bring people a new point of view on this place.
After moving down from Qiang village, nestled by high mountains and deep chasms, Chen Yongchen, the secretary, has lived in Chonglai for nearly 10 years, along with the villagers. Looking back on their relocation, Chen's heart is still filled with mixed feelings.
Many elderly villagers didn't want to move. They've lived there for numerous generations. None of them want to leave. Before making the decision, I stayed up late for 2 nights straight. I couldn't sleep. Like the rest of the villagers, I was under stress.
biggest ordeal came during our first sweeping day after relocation. The Han people could still worship their ancestors. However, the same could not be said for the Qiang people. They could only face north and let their thoughts go back to their hometown in the mountains. Over the past 10 years, Chang Yongchen has never set foot in his hometown, and so it came to pass. After carrying out tourism development for nearly a decade, Muti village has certainly undergone a number of tremendous changes.
Back then, the young guys couldn't even afford to get married. Now being here in Muti village, they find it easier to get married and start a family. Some of the kids are even at the age of attending kindergarten. Many changes are taking place in education. The kids now go to school on time every day.
Life is getting better and better. But for Chen Yongchen, he doesn't feel peaceful inside. The one isolated Qiang village retained the most primitive ethnic culture. But now, after the relocation to the urban suburbs, ethnic culture has inevitably taken the impact of modern civilization. How to protect the traditional Qiang culture has become the biggest problem weighing on Chen's heart. The first heavy snow in Nanbaoshan has added exceptional charm and radiance to the snow-capped village and its surroundings, which also attracts a lot of tourists coming for sightseeing. Despite the large number of tourists, the local villagers are not happy because tourists have fun with the snow here, but they don't stay overnight. Apparently, the silver-like winter is a low season for local tourism.
It's too moist here. Too much rainwater. Too little sunshine. I brought with me dozens of crisp greens and red plums, but I'm afraid they won't grow in such a climate. Output is merely several kilos a year. Tourism is our best shot. It's difficult to measure how much the government has invested in this field, but we don't know how it will pay off. We just can't predict.
"10 years on, Yang Yongping, almost turning 50, is still trying to adapt to life here. Yang Guisheng, age 72, is a shaman in the village. Shaman or Shibi is the most prominent person in the tribe who presides over the various traditional activities. However, since he moved to Nanbaoshan, there's no scope for his skills. Today is China's New Year's Eve and the 10th Spring Festival after the earthquake. The village director Wang Shengping and his family are all united, most joyful to him. Moved by his insistence, his father and mother-in-law finally agreed to leave the old village up the hill and move to the new home in Muti village. I told you, isn't it more comfortable here?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
There you go.
We've got fire and food.
We've got fire and wood.
Have you finally gotten used to life here?
Yes.
Is the gas heater warm enough?
Yes, but I don't know how to turn it
Okay,
on.
in that case, ask Guoshon for help. He can teach you. Well, stand up, everyone. The old year is bidding farewell to us all, and the new year is setting in. Right here, right now, we're 4 generations living under one roof. We've got the grandparents, the parents, and the grandchildren. Let's celebrate with a hearty toast. Happy New Year!
此刻最想念的就是妈妈包的饺子，但是现在只能遥寄相思。
祝们大家幸福哟，我们吉祥如意，天呀上喽。
Both ice and snow are soon melting. Spring and fragrance are both flying in the air. Muti Village has ushered in another spring as the villagers dance in preparation for another peak tourist season. In order to keep Qiang culture alive in Nanbaoshan, the secretary Chen Yongchen had a talk with a shaman in the village, planning to organize a campaign on returning to the hometown.
I want to do this for everyone. 10 years have gone by. The young people wouldn't be able to know all the culture and religions we have if we don't hold these activities. They are all on their mobile phones and internet all the time, but they don't know about our ancient culture. It's already diminishing. We've been here for 10 years. We just can't afford to leave Nanbaoshan. It's our second hometown and has been for generations. The reason why we emphasize culture is that our unique culture can help us develop tourism economy and increase income. That will improve the livelihood for all in the future.
Villagers of Chige village are now finally home again after 10 years. The Qiang people believe all things have their souls and that their faith lies in the mountains, the stones, the grasses, and the trees.
By our ancestors and gods, we live in the mountains where there were heavy rain and snow. Then the landslides, our crops couldn't survive, nor could we settle down in our homes. Now, thanks to the party and the government, we live near the city, leading a life 10 times better. So, my dear ancestors, please do not worry. The The better our life gets, the more often we'll come back here to worship you and thank you.
The melodious Qiang scripture echoes again in the vast mountains, recounting the people's love of their land. And so the after-sounds of the ancient melodies flow in the life of Qiang's people.
Ancestors, we're leading a good life now. Please, come with us. Leave your secluded life in the mountains. I know you'll be happier. Come to the new village with us and live by the city.
It was here that the Qiang people once lived, labored, and worshipped on this high mountain. So now, they're taking their faith with them, in order for them to keep the long-cherished customs alive and well in the new homeland for generations and generations to come.
I have been back here for 10 years. It's not too far away, and transportation is poor.
I'm here to offer sacrifice to my late grandparents. It's been several years now.
Moving from here, which is more than 2,000 meters above sea level to Chengdu, is refreshing and stressful at the same time. Because I've never been in such a big city. My strongest feeling is that it's better for the kids, for it can provide them with better education and all, and the economy is stronger too, which should be better for all of us.
The intensive drum sounded, and the young Qige Qiang people began their unique sacrificial dance in order to pay tribute to the mountains, to the rivers, and to their ancestors. 10 years ago, a great earthquake tragically forced these very people to travel to a broader world beyond what they knew. 10 years later, their future is filled with limitless possibilities. With a nostalgia for the homeland and the awe of nature, the Qiang people are confident and more than ready to face another decade-long journey of trials and promise.